What's up, guys? Welcome back into another video. And today, oh boy, today is a very long, special, fun video. So Black Widow was just released yesterday, the day that you're watching this, and I got to see it early. Like you guys saw, you can go check out my review. I got to see it about a week and a half ago, and today, instead of doing a review because I've already done one, today I'm beating everyone to it. I'm doing my MCU ranking. We're ranking all of the MCU, and this one's actually a special one. This is kind of a double ranking because I did not do a. Ooh, I just hit my mic. I'm sorry. I did not do a ranking after Falcon and Winter Soldier. I didn't do a ranking, so this is both my ranking for Black Widow and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So you're going to see where both of those are placed in my overall list of the MCU. But I want you guys to go down below in the comments before we get started and let me know, what is your favorite MCU movie? You don't got to give me your full list. You can if you want, and I'd love to look at where these films stand on your list. But all I'm asking is, let me know your favorite. My computer is making noises. We're going to turn the audio off real quick before we get into this. It's like I said, I never edit these videos. We do it raw, as they like to say, I guess, is a term. But let me know down below in the comments, what is your favorite MCU movie? Love to hear what you guys have to say. I think you guys know pretty well what mine is, but we'll save it for the end. So I think without further ado, let's just kind of get into the rankings. We got 26 to go over now. Some of these we're not going to take a lot of time on, like number 26, which is The Incredible Hulk. Very forgettable movie. It just feels rotten, and with Edward Norton in it, it doesn't feel like it's even attached to the MCU. It feels like a completely different entity in itself. The story is just not good. Everything about this film is just not fun. It's not fun. It's not great. It does not fit in the MCU. I just don't like it at all, and it comes in at number 26 on my list. Number 25 is another one of the worst. It's Thor: The Dark World, and not good. Malekith is by far the most forgettable villain in all of the MCU. This is a boring, drab film, and Darcy, while I do love her in WandaVision, she is unbearable in this film. I don't like her. I've never been a fan of Jane Foster, any of her arcs. There's a correlation here. Thor Ragnarok is really damn good, and we'll get into that one much later on my list. Who's not in it? We'll see how Thor: Love and Thunder does, but it's just it's kind of a communal agreement that this film is just not good, and it comes at number 25 on my list. Now this one pains me because he's by far my favorite character in the entire MCU, but coming at number 24 is Iron Man 2. There's no doubt that there is a lot going on here. They're trying to shove too much plot, too much they're trying to shove too much, world building and setup for an Avengers movie in this film, that it feels clunky, it feels overstuffed, it's overbearing. You get a great villain like Whiplash, and you use him for like 5 minutes, and then he's just he's kind of the butt of a joke about a bird and stuff like that. Now, Justin Hammer is a fantastic villain. No one is ever going to tell me any different. I am a Justin Hammer stan. I hope we get him back in Armor Wars. If he is not, I will riot. But this is a very lackluster film, and it's just not that great, unfortunately, which sucks because I love Tony Stark and I love Iron Man so much. But it comes in number 24 on my list. Now, from here on up, I don't really have a problem with any of these films. I just want to put that out there. Don't really have a problem with any of them. It's just kind of placement of which ones I like more. So that's where we kind of stand on that. But coming in number 23 is the original Thor. Now, I don't know if it's that I'm just not really intrigued with the character of Thor, or that I'm kind of bored by the plot and the storyline. I think the fish out of water element is okay. I don't think it entirely lands, but there are some sequences where it's fine. And we do have, Jane Foster, Darcy, and I've never been a fan of that team. I just haven't, and it's just not great. I like Loki as kind of the villain here. I think that he is pretty good. We get him, obviously, throughout the MCU now. This was his introduction, and the Asgardian, like, when we were on Asgard, it's a pretty good movie. When you get down to Earth, it just totally peters out, and it's just not great. So it's fine. I'm not the biggest fan of it, and it comes in number 23 on my list. Coming in number 22 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Yeah, this one's a big miss, because the first one is so good, and like I said, we will get into it way further up on the list. There's a lot of potential here, and there's a lot of really great moments. Bringing in Ego, the father of Star-Lord, is a great idea. It's a great idea at the core, but the thing that this film does, and I know Sean Chandler talks about this all the time, and I tend to agree with him, that's why I'm bringing it up, is you're ruining emotional moments by throwing in a cheap joke. Every character had to have some sort of joke all the way throughout this film. I'm not the fan of that, especially when you're in highly emotional moments. That emotion needs to linger. You don't throw it off by Drax saying some stupid joke. I'm not the fan of that. Now, there is some good here. Some of the jokes do land. I will say that. I love the cast. The cast is just great as a whole. And you do get the emotional ending. Yondu's death is emotional. It's very, you know, that entire sequence is very, very well done. So I will give it credit for that. But there's a lot here that's just not fantastic. A lot that hasn't been answered yet. You know what? Maybe Guardians of the Galaxy 3, maybe what happens in that one will change my opinion and actually make this higher up. But for now, comes in number 22 on my list. Coming in at number 21 is the original Ant-Man. I'm a fan of Ant-Man. Don't have any problem with it. The only reason why it's so far down on this list is it's one of the cases of I just prefer the other ones more. I like the small size of the story. The entire world of the MCU is not on its back, and we will get into that with Ant-Man and the Wasp as well. And yeah, it does take the Tony Stark elements of like his origin story with Yellow Jacket. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I like Scott Lang. Luis is by far one of the best characters in the MCU, and he needs to be utilized more. I did like the mythology and world building kind of, you know, the shifting between small and big. The action sequences are pretty cool, and this is a nice intro to Ant-Man. It's pretty good. Don't have many problems with it, and it comes in at number 21 on my list. Coming in at number 20 is Ant-Man and the Wasp, another really great, small-sized film that doesn't have the fate of the world on its back. A really nice palate cleanser after Infinity War. It's what we needed. We needed a nice little palate cleanser after what the hell happened in that movie. And you get a really awesome post-credit scene that leads directly into Infinity War and Endgame, which I really, really love. But the reason why this one hops over the original Ant-Man, because I know people will kind of disagree with that, is there's a lot more mythology and world building around the quantum realm, which, as we know, turns out to be really important. You get Ghost. I kind of like Ghost as a character because Ghost is like the prime example of someone that just wants doesn't want anything that's so bad. She just wants to feel better. She doesn't want to be hurting anymore, but the way that she goes about it is the wrong way. That's the clear example here, and I think it was very well done. It's not a bad movie. It's not. I enjoyed it. I have a good time with it, and it comes in number 20 on my list. Coming in number 19 is Captain Marvel. Now, before you go in the comments and say this should be number 26 and that Brie Larson's the worst and that blah, 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 I'm going to stop you right there and say, I don't need y'all on this channel, so leave. Okay, so all the positive people that are here, I like Captain Marvel. I really don't have any issue with it. I think Brie Larson is pretty good as Carol Danvers. Love the world building. This is like the most intergalactic that we've gone past the Guardians, and we get introduced to the Kree, we get introduced to, the Skrulls, and all of this new mythology and world building that we've never experienced before. This opened up the MCU to so many more possibilities, which is just really fantastic. Love the backdrop of the 90s. I think that was a very nice kind of origin place to set it. Young Nick Fury is fantastic. Getting some time with him. I think Samuel L. Jackson gives probably his best performance in the MCU in this film. Now, yes, he gets more screen time than like 5 minutes that he gets in any other movie, but here he really does get the time to shine. And Ben Mendelsohn's a damn good villain for as long as he is a villain. It's a fun movie. I had a good time with it. Like I said, if you're going to come in here and spout negativity about this movie because you believe wrong things and think that Carol Danvers, I'm not even going to get into all of that, but if you are going to come in here and do that, just leave. Goodbye. See you later. We don't need you here. And if you're subscribed and you want to unsubscribe, honestly, go ahead, because I don't need people negative like that on this channel. So Captain Marvel's cool. I enjoyed it. Post-credit scene is freaking awesome. I saw it 4 times in theaters just to see the post-credit scene, and it comes in at number 19 on my list. Coming in number 18 is Captain America: The First Avenger. Now, this is a good movie. I'm not going to lie. I have a good time with it. But in the end, I just love the other films more. That's really the territory we're getting into here. Like, 18 and up are, like, high quality. I really enjoy. I could watch them any time of the day. It just really, it's just preference at this point. I mean, it's really just preference. But I love the origin of Steve Rogers. I think Red Skull is a good enough villain. I think the exposition is great. I think there's a lot of this movie that you could probably cut out. I hate to say that, but there are some sequences that you can cut out. I think the pacing is a little weak, but it's a really nice origin. The MCU is still trying to get their feet under them. They had a few duds before this, Incredible Hulk and Iron Man 2, but this is a really nice origin for Steve Rogers. Chris Evans is the best Steve Rogers that you could ever imagine and hope for, and it's just a nice beginning. And the post-credit scene leading into the Avengers is absolutely fantastic. So like I said, I like the movie. I just like the others more, and it comes in at number 18 on my list. Coming in number 17 is Avengers Age of Ultron. It's not as bad as people say it is. You are introduced to new characters like Wanda Maximoff, who is now a lead character in this. You get Pietro, who, rest in peace, is now gone. And you just get a storyline of continuation with the Infinity Stones. You get the introduction of Vision, and you get a really awesome and evil performance from James Spader as Ultron. I think the Ultron character was maybe a little underutilized, sure, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I love to see all of my heroes on screen. I think Sokovia in particular. Name another event that has happened in the MCU, not counting Infinity War and Endgame. That's not valid yet. Name any other event in the MCU that has had more of an impact than Sokovia. Name another event. You're not going to find one. So name another event. This film, it sets up a lot. If it wasn't for those events of that film, a lot of what happened in the MCU would not have happened. Civil War, Infinity War and Endgame, them being broken up, those fantastic reunions in End, like none of that would have happened if we didn't have Sokovia happen in Age of Ultron. So respect it for what it was. I enjoy it. I think, yes, it's not the best, but there is a lot of redeeming factors for it. I don't think it's as bad as everyone thinks it is, and it comes in at number 17 on my list. Coming in number 16 is Doctor Strange, and I really need to reevaluate this ranking because Doctor Strange is a damn good movie. Dormammu's not the best villain. Caecilius is also not the best villain. They're kind of weak from at least the standpoint of what Doctor Strange is capable of. But you show some real stakes by killing off the Ancient One. That is stakes, and that is something I did not expect. And you get, kind of the... Yes, it does follow kind of the MCU mold, but this is our first look at magic in the MCU and wizardry and sorcery, and I really enjoyed that. Now, there's no doubt the cinematography and GFX of this film are absolutely stunning and incredible. Yes, I think Benedict Cumberbatch is perfect for this role, and I'm very excited for Multiverse of Madness because what's being told, from what I've heard, what's being set up, this film is going to absolutely shatter everything we know about the MCU. I mean, the next year and a half, it's going to completely change how we see the MCU with the Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Multiverse of Madness. I'm so excited. This is a really solid origin that I tend to enjoy on rewatch even more, and it comes in at number 16 on my list. Coming in at number 15, here's my biggest hot take of the entire thing, because I love this film. Number 15 is Iron Man 3. I flippin' love this film. I love everything about it. I love the fact that they are taking Tony out of the suit and making him survive and fight without the suit. That is the best decision they could have made with this film, because Tony is so reliant on his armor and his suit and his technology. What happens when you take the man out of his safety blanket? How does he react? And he reacts with flying colors, just like this film. I love that. I love the this is one of the first films that really, because it's only the 7th film in the MCU, this is one of the first ones that really dives into more deeper themes. This goes a lot into mental health and anxiety and panic attacks, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the humanization of Tony Stark, because we see him as a bigger than life character that can't be beat, that can't die, And in this film, we really explore the humanity of the character. Now, am I a little biased because I love Tony? Yes, but that doesn't take away from the fact that this is a very nuanced, very layered film that I think y'all need to not sleep on. Yeah, the Mandarin just freaking sucks, but you know what? It's going to be made up for in Shang-Chi, so y'all chill with that. I love it. It's a great time, and it comes at number 15 on my list. Coming in at number 14 is Black Panther. I just want to give a disclaimer because everyone's going to flame me for Black Panther being all the way down here. It's got 4 stars, so y'all can chill. It's a great film. Michael B. Jordan is a brilliant villain. Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, gives a fantastic performance. And the thing that is so impactful about this film is just what it did, not just in movies, but in society. Bringing a black superhero to the forefront and making the movie really good, and showing, you know, little kids that are black that there's a superhero out there that looks like them. That is significant. That has an impact, and I have to give major props to that. The story's also really good. It's written very well. I love the ending between T'Challa and Killmonger is just fantastic. Now, yeah, there's some spotty CGI. You know, there's some stuff that's just not great, but the fights overall are done really well. And Ryan Coogler directed, and he did a damn good job. And you also have to remember this film got nominated for Best Picture. That does not happen with superhero movies. This was significant on all levels. Now, personal preference, I don't think it's the most rewatchable film. I think there's a lot of great about it, and I do rewatch it from time to time, but I just think that some of the things on the top are more rewatchable, or I just end up loving them more. But that does not take away from the fact that Black Panther is an absolutely phenomenal film. Very, very well done. It is a piece of filmmaking, not just a amusement park ride, Scorsese, and it comes in at number 14 on my list. Coming in at number 13 is Thor Ragnarok. This is a fun one. This is a very fun one. You completely take what we know about Thor being this Shakespearean Asgardian god destined to be king, and you flip it on its head. You make it funny. You add the jokes. You bring in Taika Waititi, who has just a very distinct style, and you make this one of the most fun movies in the MCU, but also one of the most impactful and emotional ones, because again, talking about like Iron Man 3, where you're talking about the humanity of a human, now we're talking about the humanity of a god. You take away his birthright to be king by taking away his father, who ends up dying, and then literally a minute and a half later, you take away his safety blanket of Mjolnir by destroying it, and you bring in a bigger, badder villain that is up to the task, if not even more powerful than Thor. And this entire movie is kind of an identity crisis for Thor, figuring out who he is. And that is what's so beautiful about this film. I know everyone loves it for the jokes and for the action and for the amazing color palette. Yes, that's all fantastic. But if you really look deep down, what this film is a character study on Thor, the god of thunder, and him finding his full potential, knowing that he doesn't need Mjolnir. He is the person that is capable of these powers and of these things. So I love that. That's where they went. I think Taika is the most qualified actor for this sub-franchise of the MCU, and I'm so excited for Thor Love and Thunder. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic, and this comes in at number 13 on my list. Coming in at number 12 is WandaVision. Now, I know everyone's like, Jack, but you always talk crap about this. I know. Now, let me explain. I mostly meme this because there is this cult following of this show, like cult following of this show that is borders on insanity in some points. So I do it more to get a kick out of it and kind of get a reaction from those people because it's kind of funny. Now, but I do have my issues with it. I do not think it's a perfect TV show at all. I think the pacing is not good. I do not like where they go with the cliffhangers. I tried to buy that for a time, but reevaluating, yeah, the cliffhangers here suck, especially compared to Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki. The cliffhangers here are absolute dog crap. They are not good. And on top of that, you have one of the most sloppy finales, one of the most you do a like it's like 40 minutes and it's just shoved with like so much. You're like, what's going on? I don't understand. And you could have made the first 2 episodes 1 episode. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, the good. Why it's up so high. I do love the expansion of the MCU. We're bringing in more of the magic. We are learning more about Wanda and what she's capable of. I think the camaraderie between Wanda and Vision is very well done. You bring in some new characters and some old characters, and you actually make them likable. Darcy Lewis. Pagina Darcy Lewis. She's actually likable in this film. She's not terrible like she is in the movies. You bring back Jimmy Woo, who is a fan favorite, and you introduce Monica Rambeau, who is a badass character that I'm so excited to see in the Marvel's film. There's a lot of good here. There's a lot of potential here. The theories were flowing. The first Marvel TV show, there's a lot of good. And the storytelling overall is good. The through line of Wanda dealing with grief is very, very well written. I love episode 7. That is one of my favorite episodes of this show. The one where she's going back in her mind and we get to see all the trauma that she has had to live through. And that's great. And people hate that. People don't like that episode. They're like, oh, no action. But see, it's that, you know what I mean. But I like it because of how subtle it is, but how impactful it is with emotion and going through grief. Very well done. I have my issues with it, but there's no doubt that it takes what we knew about TV and kind of spun it on its head and had an impact. It was good for that. So there you go. This may change in time. I may reevaluate the ranking and rate it lower, but for now, it comes in at number 12 on my list. Coming in at number 11 is Black Widow. Here we are, the newest entry into the MCU. It's just good. You guys can go check out my review. I'm not going to give my full thoughts here. You go check out my review because you should go check out my review. But I think it's a really nice prequel for Infinity War and Endgame, first off, but just a really nice solo film for Black Widow. We get to learn about her. We get to learn about her family. And there's a lot of unanswered questions here that are answered. Budapest, being one of the biggest ones, is answered in this film, which I really, really liked. But in the end, you get fantastic performances. Florence Pugh is an absolutely standout actress, and she is fantastic. I'm so excited to see her in the future of this, especially after the post-credit scene. And overall, it's just a really nice time. It's fun. It's got funny jokes while also having some really nice emotion. And just as a send-off for Black Widow, it's good. It's earned. It's good, and I really enjoyed it. And it comes in at number 11 on my list. Before I get into my top 10, again, go down below in the comments. Let me know, what did you think? What's your favorite MCU film? Let me know down below in the comments. All right, number 10, SpiderMan Homecoming. This one is, I enjoy this. I think that I tend to believe that Tom Holland is the greatest mix of Peter Parker and Spider-Man of any of the other actors that have done it. And yes, I love Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, yes, but Tom Holland, I believe, is the best of the three. I like the high school kind of John Hughes-esque feeling of this film. You get Vulture, one of the best MCU villains. I will die on that hill. Wait for the movie draft. And some of the most tense writing and tense filmmaking of any of the MCU films was fantastic. The opening the door on Homecoming night and then the car ride to Homecoming are some of the best directed, acted, and written sequences in all of the MCU. You heard me right. Absolutely fantastic. Love this film so much, and it comes at number 10 on my list. But you know what I love a little bit more? Spider-Man Far From Home. This is Mysterio. The Mysterio is the standout here. I love that Peter is not really reliant on anyone else. He kind of has to figure it out himself. He had Iron Man to kind of help him out a little bit throughout Homecoming, which, hey, if I can get more Tony Stark, I can get more Tony Stark. But it's him kind of dealing, and a lot of what Phase 4 is going to be, and a lot of what after Endgame was dealing with grief. This was kind of the first one to really deal with grief hard, because he's dealing with the grief of losing his father figure, mentor, everyone in between, while also having a nice, fun story throughout Europe with a really great character in Mysterio. Jake Gyllenhaal is an absolutely fantastic actor. Please, Marvel, tell me you did not just bring him in for one film. please, we need more Jake Gyllenhaal Mysterio in the MCU. But I really love this. I think it's fantastic. Y'all are sleeping on it hard. Y'all are, all the Spider-Man guys and gals are just saying, yeah, you just spouting out crap just to talk crap about it because it's not the Raimi films. Okay, whatever. I enjoy it, and it comes at number 9 on my list. Coming at number 8 is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Look, Loki's not on this list because it's not over yet, but I have a feeling that Loki's gonna land pretty high on this list. But for now, Falcon and Winter Soldier is the best TV show that has been out, not counting Loki. They figured out the pacing really, really well. They have a really great underlying villain in John Walker, where he's not really a villain, but he kind of is. But then you also get some redemption, which I like. Everyone else hates it, but I kind of like it. You bring Zemo back, who I think is one of the most underrated villains in the MCU, and you've just got kind of this like MacGuffin kind of story where they're going after the serum, trying to stop it, while also trying to stop the Flag Smashers. But then you've also got all this political intrigue with Anthony Mackie and am I going to be Captain America? Does America want a black Captain America? And the legacy of the Shield. I love all of that. And then deep down, even deeper down, there is a subplot in there about Bucky dealing with grief, dealing with what happens now that Steve is gone and he is on his own, getting over what happened to him when he was the Winter Soldier and dealing with that grief. I really love all of that. I think it's written very well. Yeah, there's some moments that are kind of duds, but a lot better than WandaVision pacing-wise. I think they nailed that. I think the action here is absolutely fantastic. You get back to the gritty feel of Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And guys, we got our new Cap. I love this one. And it comes at number 8 on my list. Coming in at number 7 is the original Iron Man, the one that started it all. There's not really much to say here. Robert Downey Jr. is fantastic. This is where the formula for MCU origin stories came from, so therefore, since it's the first, it's the best. Jeff Bridges' Obadiah Stane is actually a really good villain, and it's Iron Man. I mean, it's got some of the best quotable lines. It's got some awesome action, and it's just the beginning of this absolutely amazing franchise, which I absolutely love, and it comes at number 7 on my list. Coming in at number 6 is Guardians of the Galaxy, a film that came out of nowhere, on no one's radars, and absolutely shocked the world by making one of the most fun, inventive, and funny films in the entire MCU. The entire cast is amazing. James Gunn's direction is on point. The soundtrack is the best in all of the MCU, and this was our first time we left Earth. This was cosmic, this was space, and it was done so well. The world building is great, the mythology is fantastic. It's just a damn good time. I love it. I have fun with it. I always rewatch it. It's great. And it comes at number 6 on my list. Top 5, ladies and gentlemen. Top 5. Top mother flippin' 5. Number 5 is the Avengers, the original Avengers, the one that got them all together for the first time. The thing that works really well here is the simplicity of the story. It's not convoluted. It doesn't have a lot going on, which is something that was one of their faults in Age of Ultron. It's simple. You're looking for Loki, who is a great villain. You're bringing together all of these characters, and it's just kind of conversations. It's conversations between these characters, seeing how they interact with each other, and then in the end, even if they fight, even if they don't like each other, they have to team up for that fantastic, one of the best final battles in all of the MCU, the Battle of New York. Absolutely brilliant movie, the one that started it all. If it was a dud, we would not be where we are today, and it comes in at number 5 on my list. All right, I'm just like the last 4 Russo brother movies. That's all I'm going to say. Coming in number 4 is Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Yeah, spy espionage thriller with Robert Redford as the villain. Do I even need to say anything else? But really, I mean, Steve Rogers here is great, teaming up with Black Widow and Falcon, the introduction of Anthony Mackie. All fantastic. Some of the best action sequences of all of the MCU, with the highway scene with the hand-to-hand between Cap and Bucky, and you also get the elevator fight scene, which is probably one of, if not the most iconic scenes in all of the MCU. I would argue with that, but still really fantastic. This is the first film that gets really, really gritty and kind of political too, but not overbearing. It's damn good. I really enjoy where they went with this. A lot of twists and turns that I wasn't expecting, and it's one of the most solid MCU films and a great debut in the MCU for the Russo brothers. And it comes at number 4 on my list. Number 3, Avengers 2.5, or Captain America Civil War. Yeah, this one has a lot of implications just due to the fact that it is the straw that broke the camel's back with the Avengers. It broke them up. The boy band is disbanded, and you can kind of understand both sides. You can understand where both sides are coming from. A lot of secrets are thrown here, and lies, and like just amazing action sequences that also have emotion, because it's all the heroes that we loved watching fighting each other. The final fight between Bucky, Cap, and Iron Man is one of the most devastating things I've seen in the entirety of the MCU, because you know that they're friends, you know that they've got that camaraderie, but at the same time, Tony just found out that Bucky killed his parents. That is impactful. That is emotional. It's done so damn well. It's directed brilliantly, and the implications from what happens after this send shockwaves throughout the MCU. And it comes in at number 3 on my list. All right, well, of course, here we are, down to the last 2, and y'all already know who they are. Coming in number 2 is Avengers Infinity War, the ultimate culmination of 20 films at the time. It's incredibly done. I would say a better film, technically wise, than my number 1. One that, the thing that's done so well is that it's 2 teams off in 2 different places because of what happens in Civil War. So we are hopping back and forth between different settings, but you're still able to understand what's going on. You bring in everyone. You pull out all the stops and bring everyone in. You bring in Black Panther, the Guardians, Doctor Strange. So it's Avengers with everyone, and I love that. Thanos is by far the best villain in the MCU. There is no doubt in my mind. You understand where he's coming from. It's just brilliantly done, and Josh Brolin's Thanos is absolutely fantastic. And you get the cliffhanger. One of the best decisions to make in the MCU is to have them lose that fight. Absolutely brilliant. I love this film. I rewatch all the time, and it comes at number 2 on my list. But that means coming in at number 1, you all already know it is Avengers Endgame, the culmination of 23 films and the end of the Infinity Saga as we know it. It is a walking payoff, but in the best way. Sometimes when it's a lot of payoff, it doesn't work, but here it does because it's earned. You get some amazing battles. The final battle, the portal sequence, gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. But you also get some great emotion in here as well. You get really nice scenes with Steve going into Peggy's office and seeing her and not being able to say anything, or Tony's final conversation with his dad. I mean, there's really awesome emotion here as well. It's a 3-hour movie. The runtime flies by. You get another great performance from Josh Brolin as Thanos. And time travel, yeah, it may be a little clunky, but we get to go back to classic moments in the MCU that are fantastic. This film is by far the best in the MCU. It comes in at number 1 on my list, and I am Iron Man. Goodbye, Tony Stark. Goodbye, Captain America. Let me know down below in the comments, what is your favorite film in the MCU, and tell me why it's Avengers Endgame. I'm just joking. Literally, let me know down below in the comments what your favorite MCU movie is. Thank you all so much for watching. This is a long video. If you stayed till the end, type end in the comments if you stayed till the end, because this is a long video. I'm looking at the runtime right now. Long video. So if you stayed till the end, type the word end in the comments so I'll know that you're a real one. But guys, that is pretty much it. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.